Choo! Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vision Train Focus, a spotlight for the Vision Train crew for one more edition with the guest artist tonight is Austin. Thank you, Austin, for accepting this. And today is June 18. It is now 7:05 p.m. Brazil time. I am Marina Zion Rebels. I am the host of Vision Training Focus. I am tuning in from Brazil. So please, my friend, excuse me my English. It is not my first language, but I am really glad to put the Vision Train crew in the spotlight during this 2 hour trip. And there was some Vision Train focus already that happened uh, since 2024, and you can check them out on the YouTube channel of the Vision Train. It's Vision Train Station, and don't forget to like and subscribe. There is also a lot of inspiring content there, so please share, comment, and well, I'm excited to invite Austin. How you doing, Austin?
Great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate this opportunity to share and be spotlighted with the amazing Vision Train community. Thank you.
Yay, thank you so much for accepting this. And yeah, we've been riding the train for a few years already, like I believe 6 years, maybe. So, yeah, something like that. And well, this moment it's where we can get to know like the experience, the stories, because we ride the train and we share and yeah, little bit here, little bit there. But now in these 2 hours, we can do this deep dive, and I'm excited to what you got to share with us.
Yeah, I learned about the Vision Train and joined right around the 1 year anniversary that the train had
Okay.
been rolling down the tracks. And you're right, a lot of sharing over the years with each other. But I think that I found a few new things that a lot of people don't know about me to share today.
I am most certain of this. This is why, like, I keep hosting this yearly with even with like a shorts of just 10 minutes and this 2 hours long. It's like I really like this because then you can go with the story, and also like you brought a presentation for us and you even like did you know, a, a story there, a
Mhm.
storytelling. I'm excited for that.
Great. Should I share my screen and get into it?
Yes, let's do
All right.
this.
Okay. Does that look good to everybody?
We are seeing the the like the web page and all. It's
Oh,
not full screen.
okay. Let's see it. I see it full screen on my side, but let me close
So
it again.
yeah, reshare. Before you share, you put full screen, and
Oh,
then
okay.
when you share, yeah.
X.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, is that full screen now?
No, it's
No.
even now. All your back, even your desktop now is
Ah,
showing. Yeah.
okay. Let's see here. I have done this before, and I'm not sure why it's not going full screen. So you think I should make the presentation full screen first and then share and then click share?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
try that again.
Usually that's what I do. Like I put first full screen and then share, and then that is like the full thing.
Huh. It keeps closing on me. Oh,
It's
and Kyra said she had this problem
yeah.
with Google Slides too. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So
Okay.
what you can do is when you share, like I will cancel your sheet. You can like
I could also do it not being actually full screen.
yes, yes. You and also like you can even like maximize to
Yeah.
fit the
All right.
screen.
Let's try
Yes.
it one more time, like this. So I'm gonna share this, and then
Mm-hmm. Yes.
More of that.
One more and you are good if it's possible. It was good.
oh,
No,
oh no, what is going on here?
it was good. You just like did it
Yeah.
one
Mm,
zoom and it was yeah,
Let me get
it was
back to
nice.
that because then I accidentally closed that window.
And then when you zoom like that, it's nice because then you can see just like the presentation on the side and the full screen of the
All right.
presentation.
I
Yeah.
think we're gonna get it this time. How is that?
No.
No,
No, it didn't change nothing. Yeah, it
it
didn't
didn't
change
change
nothing.
anything.
But what was the button you click? Like plus, control plus, something like that, zoom.
I don't know.
If you hit
So
space bar and the plus sign, it can, or no, I think it's command plus.
you're
And,
in the
Because
Mac,
it's telling me on my side that I am full screen. That's so
okay,
strange.
but you can still magnify it from there. Just keep your clicker there and then hold the space bar, or no, not the space bar, the command key and the plus
command
sign,
plus.
command plus, and then command minus. Okay, now go the other way. Whatever you're doing, do the opposite. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Does that
Let's
start to
just say this,
Yes,
it'll let me go.
amazing. And then this
and then
bookmark, you need to close that tab. You
on
just
the
click
left?
on the window with the thing on the
Yeah,
side.
yeah,
Yes,
there we go.
yes,
Yeah,
that perfect.
This will work for us?
now
Yes.
we're cooking with cheese.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Great.
now it fits the screen. Perfect.
All right. Yay. Thanks.
Choo-choo.
Well, uh, kind of goes along with what I am excited to share with you today, that there are always challenges to overcome. So let's get into this. Uh, I decided to title this presentation Imposter to Empowered. And this is an incomplete list of teachers and teachings that are important to me, and focusing a little bit more on ones that I haven't heard shared at all or very often here with the Vision Train community. In this presentation, I'll share about my journey moving from imposter syndrome to empowered artist and teacher, discovering visionary art and some of the artists that have inspired and helped me, and how the spirit of visionary art and my interest to understand authentic creativity have informed the way that I teach art. There's a part of me that has trouble being in the spotlight and accepting that my story is interesting or that it has something special that can help others. But with each of these opportunities to share, I'm learning to move past that, which is one of the reasons that I accept these invitations. Talking and sharing in this format is an excellent mirror for me to see the value that I have to offer others. So thanks again for inviting me here. This will be a nonlinear story, which is how I like my compositions. It's a playground for the eye, a new path, and a fresh journey each time I spend with one of my pieces of art. It's vitally important to have purpose. For many years, I felt directionless, and for me, this created extreme anxiety. If I could go back in time, I would teach my younger self how to set goals. I would explain that goals don't have to be big. Small goals are just as important. Goals can shift, can be accomplished or let go, but having a goal is so important. And here's a quote from Viktor Frankl that I value a lot. I consider it a dangerous misconception of mental hygiene to assume that what man needs in the first place is equilibrium, or as it is called in biology, homeostasis, i.e., a tensionless state. What man actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for a worthwhile goal, a freely chosen task. What he needs is not the discharge of tension at any cost, but the call of a potential meaning waiting to be fulfilled by him. And in a way, I am able to go back in time through the many years of teaching kids and adults. I identify with each of the students I work with. I see different aspects of myself within each of them, and I share my advice in a gentle way, the advice that either I didn't receive or couldn't accept at the time. And I've been teaching art in from kindergarten to 12th grade and adult art classes for over 15 years now. I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin, United States, a place where everything felt very black and white, but I never felt black and white. And perhaps this is where I began feeling like an imposter, always trying to fit in with very little success. Because I always needed to paint with all the colors and glitter too. And in going through art school, it felt very taboo to use anything like glitter, that this was a cheap trick. But in my more recent years of my work, I'm like, heck yeah, glitter. Let's make everything sparkle and shine. Being born outside of my comfort zone, it first being forming a lot of anxiety to now me seeing how it's really a superpower, because it's so important to always push outside of your comfort zone. When we do hard things, that's when we have the opportunities for growth. I'm very familiar with change, and yet I still struggle with it. But now I understand my process of moving through change, and I know that there are always rewards to be found by navigating through challenging situations. I began to find some of my people in 2018. This is the caucus on the spiritual and art education. This particular picture isn't from 2018. This is from a more recent caucus conference where the caucus met. But this was all before I knew about visionary art, and I began finding people that were interested in the same sorts of things that I was interested in. One of the people that I met through the caucus on the spiritual and art education is Rain Dawn Valentine, who pops into the Vision Train from time to time. And she created this intuitive birth chart painting for me. And it's a compass. And this has really helped me, given me an image of a way to set a course and be guided. two other amazing people that I've met through being a member of the caucus in the spiritual and art education are Peter London. Last year in Chicago when we met, I knew about Peter London and I had read several of his books. Here's two of them, No More Secondhand Art and Drawing Closer to Nature, but I hadn't actually met him. And he came to the conference last year, and that was a wonderful experience. And he said to me, make the classroom an arena for your own becoming. And then also in this picture is Barbara Caldwell, and she shared with me practice imperfection and self-compassion. And both of those messages I've really taken to heart. In order to be, I struggle with perfectionism all the time. And so we can practice being imperfect to help us move past that. I did a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and a lot of my art was very dark, and I was struggling in a lot of ways during that time of my life. And so it's not unsurprising that I was creating dark art. And now I see it as shadow art, even though I didn't say it at the time. I'm doing a BFA in shadow art. That's what I see that it actually was. And there aren't many pieces of art that survive from this period, but I do have these two pictures, and the one on the right I think is interesting. Again, I didn't have any guides helping me, pointing me in any kind of a direction of a spiritual guidance or visionary art themes. But here I was playing with religious images and pain, um, and also higher messages. But a few years later, a summer spent in Arizona helped me move into the lights. It was really an incredible experience, even though I don't feel that I traveled to Arizona for the right reasons at the time. I had a lot of really great experiences, great growth experiences, and the colors and the landscape of Arizona and the desert really shifted something in me. And these are a few pieces that I created at that time. The one on the left here is my brother walking through a canyon. And this is an early example of me starting to have this feeling of people and nature and people in the environment not being separate from each other, but being integrated with one another. I also had my first experience as a volunteer mural painter in Arizona with a group called the Mural Mice. And I got to help them with two pieces. This smaller one at a festival in the town square, and that's me on the left. And also, I helped out with this very large mural, and this was kind of impossible to photograph because to my back is another wall. It's long and skinny in this alley walkway between two buildings. So it's really tough to get a good picture of this mural, but it depicts the history of the arts in Prescott, Arizona. I had nothing to do with the designing of either of these pieces. I was just a volunteer artist learning about murals. Uh, Fast forward many years later, after I have done a lot of teaching, I started to notice that of course, I love art and teaching art, but I was very interested in creativity itself. And I found a program that offered a Master of Arts in Creativity Studies, and creativity being so crucial to who we are. But it's not something that's often looked at closely. We hear people say, be creative, or that person is so creative. But what is creativity and how can we strengthen it? I wanted to understand this and how to understand your authentic creativity. Just gonna pop checking the chat there. Thank you. This is before I discovered the vision train. And while I was working on, and I didn't know anything, I still didn't know about the genre of visionary art, thinking that I'm just I was discovering all these things for myself, but I didn't have anybody to talk to them about. These were like brand new pieces of a puzzle that I was putting together for myself. And as I was doing this creativity studies program, I was just literally wandering through the stacks at the Seattle Public Library. And it's difficult to describe this experience that I had, but it was like there was a book. I wasn't even looking for any particular book, just walking past the shelves, and this book drawed me straight to it, and I grabbed it, and it was Drinking Lightning by Philip Rubinoff Jacobson. And this is and I started paging through this, and I was just so much lightning was going off in my brain. This guy understands what I've been thinking about and putting the pieces together. And then also one of my neighbors who knew I was in this program handed me another book by an artist and author that I really didn't know. And that was The Mission of Art by Alex Gray. I didn't I really didn't learn about visionary art through the art or by going to a festival or Burning Man or any of these other things. I was vaguely familiar with Alex's work because of Tool art album covers, but it was through his ideas and his writing that, again, I'm like, oh my gosh, here's another person that understands what I've been grasping at. And then, of course, as you can see in the other picture there, I did have the opportunity to go to COSM and take a workshop out there, and that was an amazing experience too. So spirit and creativity was what I was really getting interested in. I felt the connection between spirit and creativity, and I wanted my thesis project to focus on this, but I wasn't confident enough at that point and chose to work on the connection between creativity and well-being, which is very closely related, not exactly the same. And so I created my thesis project on creativity and well-being. Oops. Oh, yeah, no, that's right. Okay. Which culminated in an autoethnography in examining my own creative process. The work was well received by my advisors, and following that, after I got involved with the Vision Train, I gave a 6-part talk about creativity in the pretty earlier days of the Vision Train. So this idea of authentic creativity is where I was seeing such a strong link of spirit and creativity, authentic creativity. And in understanding my natural creative cycles, I began understanding myself in a much deeper way. And then I began to make it a priority to help my students understand their authentic creativity. Because all along, I've been teaching art in classrooms, and my ideas are changing and evolving, and how I can connect with my students even better and help them out more and more. And this is the core concept that I've used to develop my current art curriculum, which I must be doing something right, because in 2024, I was awarded Washington State Art Educator of the Year. And here is one of the points where I really had to examine shedding this label of being an imposter. They're giving me awards for what I'm doing. at the awards ceremony and at this conference, the keynote speaker was Mike Mitchell, who goes by Mike Windy, and Mike Windy Art is his Instagram there. He gave the keynote a talk, and he also he created these awards for me and the other award recipients. And he invited me. We sat down to lunch together at that conference, and he said, "Hey, I've got this podcast I've been doing called Drawing South, and I'd love to have you on as a guest." And it took about 2 years before we actually got that to happen. But recently, I recorded a conversation of his podcast. I've got some of these links that I can drop into the chat after the presentation as well. But his podcast is called Drawing South. Highly recommend it. So I want to share a little bit about this teaching philosophy and curriculum that I've been developing and finding a lot of success in with my students. And so the philosophy is that my goal as an elementary art teacher is that students leave the classroom feeling capable, proud, and excited to keep making art long after they graduate. I structure the program to build creative confidence first, knowing that skills, techniques, and vocabulary can best grow when the students feel safe to experiment and take risks. The last 4 years, I have been teaching at kindergarten through fifth grade elementary school, and they didn't have an art teacher before me. So I literally had the opportunity to build an art program from scratch and implement how I felt things should be done. So at Perkins, I got to build an art program. And in doing that, I thought about, well, what do I want a fifth grade student to graduate with, to leave here with? And this was the list that I created. A Perkins School graduate is aware of their authentic creative rhythm. And that's what I emphasize a lot to my students, young and old. Our creativity goes up and down. It ebbs and flows. There's wonderful times and it goes down, but then it comes up again. So understanding your authentic creative rhythm. Be familiar with the concepts of elements and principles of art and design and can recognize and use several of them. So this is just elementary school. Has experience with a variety of tools and materials and techniques and methods, 2D and 3D, has practiced responding, engaging, and talking about art, their own art and the art of others, has been involved with presenting and displaying their work, and can answer the questions, why do we make art and what do artists do? Those are big questions. And there's a million answers to those. There's no wrong answers to those, but it's just the idea of even considering and asking yourself and going through the exercise of answering those questions. Why do we make art and what do artists do? Another just icing on the cake of teaching at the Perkins School was being able to collaborate with Andy Crane, who is the music teacher there, and he's a very talented musician, a dub DJ as well, and we shared a classroom together. It was a combo art and music classroom, and so we were able to very easily collaborate with each other over the years. And in this picture, we made clay ocarenas in art class, and then in music class, they were playing them and trying to make compositions. Making clay ocarenas is tough, though. There was, I would say, a 50% success rate of these kids getting them to work. It was fourth and fifth grade students that we tried to make the ocarenas with. Another collaboration that I was able to do and just completed a couple of months ago, or a month ago, was the music program is going to be moving into a new room, a bigger room. So that's exciting for Andy. And he said, Austin, I want you to paint a mural for the new music room. It's like, yeah, absolutely. So I was able to work with the fifth grade class and we created a mural, and Andy kind of gave us some ideas of bright colors and things that he wanted to have in that mural. And me and the fifth graders created this legacy project to leave for them to leave at Perkins, and legacy for me as well. And the whole process of this mural was, it was like jazz music. I gave we and the reason I call it jazz music is that it didn't have, this wasn't a mural where we knew what it was going to look like. There wasn't an image that everybody was following. We learned our scales, to use a musical term, so that everybody knew what would work together. But then once they stepped up to that board, they had their artistic freedom to be authentic with what they did on the board. Just take a little peek in the chat here to see if there's anything. Oh, thanks, Abra. I'm going to see if this is going to play through here. Give me a thumbs up if it's working. I have another way that I can play it if it doesn't. But this was another collaboration that Andy and I did based on the Vision Train drawing project. Let's give it a try. Time. Time. Okay, I was curious about that, so I didn't have the audio set up right for this. But you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just put a link to the YouTube video for that here in the chat, and people can find it and play it. But this was um, Andy teaching the entire school how to sing the Peace Train song, Cat Stevens' Peace Train song, and then the Vision Train drawing project, of course, inspired by Amanda Sage, and everybody in the school drew into their train car what it is that they bring to create peace at our school and in the community and in the world. And we had about 127 train cars that were all linked up together, and we put it all the way around the perimeter of the gym because it's the biggest space at the school, and it was really magical. Everybody loved it, and so please check that out. I think it might also be on the Vision Train website someplace. Okay, now I know we're going to move into some new territory of things that I don't think I've ever shared with the Vision Train community. And this is my grandmother, who I never got the chance to meet because she actually passed away when my mom was only 8 years old. But this is Shirley, and this and my aunt shared with me a picture of her yearbook, her high school yearbook, and in there it said, "Wisdom and fine character, what more can one ask?" I'm not sure if Shirley wrote that or if somebody else wrote that about her, but either way, just having that concept connected to my grandmother, my biological grandmother. And tomorrow would actually be her 105th birthday. Happy birthday, Shirley. But the reason I bring her up is not just because of that. She was a painter. And I grew up with her paintings in my home and in other family members' homes. And my mom has shared with me that she remembers her being a very prolific and even manic painter at times, working in multiple styles simultaneously. And as I've learned about visionary art and understand the um, the breadth of visionary art, that it's not just one style or technique, I really do see a visionary art a spirit within her, and I've always felt so connected to her, even though, of course, we never actually met. And I also noticed that on some of her paintings, well, she often would sign her paintings Shulamit, which was her Jewish name. And some of them have these little butterflies next to her signature. And then one time, I think it was the last Vision Train anniversary party that we were having, Amanda mentioned to me, she said, Austin, you're a pollinator. And all of these things started making a lot of sense to me. Amanda also said, takes one to know one, which made me feel good. And I I thought, wow, I'd never thought about that before or considered that before, but many of my paintings have butterflies in them. So, and I really hadn't made this connection before. Shirley's signature has a butterfly in it. Amanda identified me as a pollinator. I'm painting butterflies into so many of my paintings. Now I want to shift over to a influential family member on my dad's side, who also I never met because he was my great-great-grandfather. This is August Mack, and that's a picture of August Mack with a snake that he created. He was an artist, and he moved from Wisconsin to Indiana because in Indiana there's a lot of great limestone, and he became a limestone carver, doing architectural elements, but also a lot of very high and artistic busts of people and famous people of the time. But this snake was always the most interesting thing to me. I would hear about the snake, August Mack snake. Also, I'm named after August Mack. So August, Austin being a derivative of August. So this was a real sensation in Indiana where he lived, and it became a tourist attraction. And there's these postcards that would go out and bring people to the town to see the brazen serpent, as it says here, the brazen serpent, my vision, my dream. And I have a quote from him that I'm going to read, and it goes along with this image. It says, in a vision, I came to a large river. The waves were pitching high and low. It was very gruesome. All at once, there were two cherubs standing there. The one to the left said, you cannot cross. You have disobeyed the law at times. I could see myself, and it looked like I was only 16 when I had run away from home in Wisconsin. My father had wanted me to be a farmer, but I wanted to be an artist. I felt ashamed, but I was determined to cross the river and try it again. A large snake came before me. I will carry you across, it said, but I wouldn't trust the serpent because in the Bible it is pictured as being deceiving. When the snake went away, I tried to cross again. The land across the river seemed like paradise. Then the cherub on the right said, the river is 16 feet deep, and each foot means 1 year. You must wait 16 years before you can cross. How crazy is that? So these are like things that are just in baked into who I am, but again, I wasn't aware of that somebody could be a visionary artist. I'm like, oh yeah, that's August Mack, and he made the big crazy snake, and he had this vision. A few years ago, I attended a meditation hosted by Burgundy Viscosi here in Seattle, and during that meditation or after the meditation, I created this snake sigil, which then a lot of snakes were showing up in my daily vision paintings of 2025. I didn't get very far into that year with daily visions, but that's okay. And I ended up getting this snake slash dragon Ouroboros tattoo pretty recently. This is another artist that gave me clues that there was like more going on than I was being taught when I was a kid in Wisconsin and in my schooling. And this is Tom Every, whose artist name is Dr. Evermore. He is an artist, was an artist in Wisconsin, died in 2020, as you can see. And his whole thing was energy and vibrations and the power of metal and magic in materials. And I'm on the left there. Me and a group of artists went out and spent some time with Dr. Evermore, and he's all about these vibrations, and his sculptures are meant to be touched. And in fact, he encourages you to hit them with mallets, and they make tones and they vibrate. And he's got a whole series of these birds that are the bird orchestra. But what he's really known for is the Forevertron, which is, I've read, the world's largest scrap metal sculpture. And there's my wife, Zinnia. We took a bike ride out there one time. This is just outside of Madison, Wisconsin. And Dr. Evermore would always say, power on. And again, I knew that there was something to this. A lot of other people would make jokes about it, but I was connecting with this so deeply that, oh, you can, and also that the scale of this was just so big and heavy and serious, and it was about energy and vibrations. And he said that he would put when he died, his spirit was going to be projected out through the top of this Forevertron creation that he created out into the cosmos. And I have one of these time traveling tokens, and I'll just read a little bit of what this says so you can get a little bit more of an idea of his thinking. Here, this is a certificate that comes along with the time traveling token. Many people are content to spend their time walking the pathways of Earth, living within the realm of what they can see around them, satisfied with the here and now. If you are one of those, this token is not for you. But there are a few who sense that the here and now is only a small piece of something infinitely grander. There are a few who feel a tugging of something beyond what they see and experience in the immediate environment. There are precious few who feel a longing to explore other realities, to break free from the limits and the constraints holding them back. If you are one of these, then destiny has brought this token to you. You will recognize in it the missing piece you might not yet have realized you were searching for, the answer to the question you might not have fully formed yet. With this token, you hold in your hand the key to opening the gate to intergalactic time travel. All you have to do is learn to use it. Yeah, choo-choo, Dr. Evermore. And I see there's a bunch of stuff piling up in the chat, but I'm just gonna go through. If somebody sees something very important, please turn on your mic and let me know about it. Okay. These are all little clues that were informing young Austin that there's more going on. And, these are the things that I was connecting with. Lots of people were aware of this, but they're like, oh, that crazy artist with the junk metal sculpture. Yeah. Like, no, there's something to this. Here's another artist that I had similar experiences with. This is John Strongbow. This little passage comes from his website. You can see he died in 2022. I think his sister wrote this, but I'm not 100% sure. John Strongbow surprised everyone, including himself, by passing away on December 19th, 2022. He was, no doubt, irked, inconvenienced as well, with so many projects to finish and new ones planned. So John Strongbow also gave me these clues of seeing things in a different way, or maybe I can say that gave me validation that that there was something to the connections that I was feeling and seeing. And so here's just a little bit of his art, and he worked with cross-cultural mythology. Uh, so these things that are deep, deep, that connect us, not just one religion or one culture, but the big concepts, weaving art and stories from the similarities of religious traditions, rituals, and celebrations. And John also had a band, a jazz band, kind of an avant-garde jazz band called Mystery School. And I just thought that was a pretty fun name. Oh, Mystery School. And it wasn't until years later that I understood the real meaning of what is a mystery school. And one more artist, Deborah Milton, who I met on Bainbridge Island outside of Seattle here in Washington. And I took a painting. She was doing these Gaia painting classes. And I was struggling at the time of not knowing what my next step as an artist was, and not connecting with the artists that were, again, this is a nonlinear story. But when I met Deborah, not connecting with other artists that were getting it, or were working in a way that I was feeling drawn to. And then I met Deborah, and she's doing these Gaia painting workshops. And on the right is the painting that I created in her Gaia painting workshop. And this painting was completely different than anything else that had come off of my brush onto a canvas before. She led us through meditations. She led us through ecstatic postures. She shared us all sorts of amazing things like Pablo Amaringo. It's the first time I learned about him was through Deborah. And I created this painting in her workshop. This is just a piece of advice that I want to share, that when you see a street poet with a typewriter, always buy a poem. And this is a local fixture here in Seattle, Dusty. So now we're getting to a part where I connect to the vision train. So there was a pandemic, and I was at home, and I somehow the algorithm gods decided to put this mural workshop in front of me, hosted by Anya Amador. And I took the Zoom mural workshop with her. And then she said, "Oh, there's this cool thing called the Vision Train. You should check it out." So I got onto the Vision Train, and that hit me like a train. Everything all rushing together, all of these pieces of the puzzle, all of these feelings of I'm the only one. I didn't really think that I was the only one, but I didn't know anyone else that was uh, working with these themes, and having these discussions and believing these outside of the norm things. And I found the Vision Train. I found all of you. So grateful. Choo choo. I was invited to submit to a blog by a blogger in Adelaide, Australia. And she found me through my community mural work, and her site is Painting Around is Fun. And I'd like to share this short blog entry that I made for her blog. A surprising fact about me is, like many artists, I'm very much an introvert. I'm content to spend hours and days alone in my studio creating. I don't require validation or motivation from others to create my art. And at this point in my life, I don't feel called to show my work in galleries either. I've also been a K-12 art teacher for over 10 years, which has been extremely fulfilling in many ways. But teaching in a classroom is another very safe and controlled environment, not unlike the comfort of my home studio space. As a creative person, I know that stretching outside my comfort zone is where the growth happens. I discovered I also had a deep desire to make a contribution to my greater community in a direct way. I wanted to use my skill set as an artist and an art teacher in a more outward facing way. And my solution became facilitating collaborative murals and other community art projects. And for the last 5 years now, I've been doing a lot more mural work, some of it independent, but a lot of it with community groups. Just a few examples. I also met this other community mural artist, Hip Nguyen, at an art teacher conference, and we've become good friends and collaborators. He's based out of LA, near LA in California. Here's a big fun one that we did at an elementary school. Just a few other community projects that I've been able to guide. And this one I did for the Seattle Waldorf School. And the title of this mural is Harmony and Flow. And they asked me to be a part of a dedication to the project. And so here's a few words that I shared for the dedication of this mural. Much of my work explores the themes of love and the spirit of creativity. It was an honor and so much fun to create this piece of art for you. This mural is called Harmony and Flow because I believe excellent learning can happen when it's supported by harmony and flow. A school is in harmony when all the members of its community agree to work together. When all the different and diverse pieces fit together, an amazing and harmonious container for learning is created. Equally important for growth is the strong progressive movement of flow. Flow guides and protects, it offers safety and comfort, and creates a shared sense of purpose. Flow also provides a force for us to struggle against. Just like the salmon that are compelled to swim upstream, they don't do it because it's easy. It takes incredible amounts of energy and effort, but somehow they know that because it's hard, they are doing the right thing. Because it's hard, they are doing the right thing. And like those salmon, we all have times in our lives that the struggle against the flow is critically important for personal growth and the foundation of our individual identities. In this painting, we see flow suggested in circular movements of the fish in the water, and we see harmony represented in the color palette, composition, and by the geometric patterns in the fish. Socrates called geometry the art of the ever true, and I believe this geometry symbolizes a golden truth, a foundational fact from which we build trust with each other. It's important to have agreed upon truths within a community. The exaggerated geometry in the fish are a visual reminder that we are all essentially connected from the shared structures that form our DNA and brain cells to the organization of the universe that we exist in. And then they invited me back to help their eighth graders paint a mural project on the sidewalk at the school. That's a little picture of that. Just a few more mural and community mural projects. This one was a lot of fun to do. And I can't do this presentation without bringing up another person who is so incredibly important to me and has helped me in infinite ways, and that's my wife, Zinnia Scally. She's a designer, a gardener, a yoga teacher, and there will need to be another 2-hour presentation just about all of her amazingness, but I have to give her a shout out as an important teacher for me and partner in my journey. We've collaborated in the garden, her amazing gardens, and then I build these fun garden sculptures that go into the gardens. We also operated a combination art and yoga studio called the Conservatory. Art and yoga happening. And so what's next? More change, of course. We are about to leave in a couple of weeks. We're leaving Seattle. We are taking a sabbatical, a field trip, a gap year, and it's going to be unstructured. And we are going to travel to places that we haven't been before, and also places that we have friends and connections that we've only met virtually, like so many of you on the Vision Train, and meet them where they are in real life. And we've got a whole year blocked out for that, and we are about to take off on that next step, that next adventure. So here's my last slide. I still find it difficult to make changes, but I can see what I need to do. I'm setting clear goals. I'm confident with myself and where I am, and I love to be wrong. Thank you very much for this time and space to share this story.
Choo-choo! Thank you so much, Austin. Wow, this presentation was amazing. And well, let me put you here on the spotlight as well. Well, thank you so much for putting together this presentation. It was really nice to see like how you managed to not do a linear, but putting all the threads together of your life. And also, it was impressive because, of course, a few of my questions were answered as well with the flow of your presentation. So, yeah, I found that really interesting. Emily, you want to share something?
Yeah, but well, two things I want to comment and then also ask a question. Um, that harmony and flow, man, that mural was like, you know, it was just so focused. I mean, that was good graphic, great design. I just that, because all the other stuff is, chaotic and I'm getting groups together and so all this jazz stuff and then you get this and I was like, wow, that mural kicks ass. And just well, it spoke to me. Let's just say that because, it's all relative. Um, and the other thing, the question is, the power went out, so I lost like maybe 3 or 5 minutes of your talk. And by the time I got back on, the last slide was mystery school, and then you went into something else. Can you go back or read and then other people were like, what's a mystery school? I kind of know, but I'm curious what was that whole section about mystery school? Can you reiterate and
Yeah.
expand?
So is an artist. His name is John Strongbow, and he was another one of these visionary artists that I connected with him and his work before I understood what this whole visionary artist thing was. And he also had an avant-garde jazz band, and the name of that jazz band was Mystery School.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought, oh, what a cool name for a jazz band. Yeah, Mystery School. But then years later, I discovered the deeper meaning of what is a mystery school. And I think what to say about that right here and now. Mystery schools are intentionally not obvious to find, and they are because you need to work, put a little effort into it to connect with a mystery school, because they are the stewards of that really deep sacred knowledge that passes from
Yeah,
across time.
the metaphysical stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those have been called mystery schools.
Yeah. Okay, so that was indirect because I thought you're like, he went to one, what? And it was the name of the band. Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that
And
I haven't,
oh,
but
that's true. 'Cause if you're truly being mysterious, we will never know.
there
Okay.
have been a lot of, I love how open we are about these kinds of topics on the Vision Train. And there's been a lot of uh, skirting the edges of knowledge that is carried through and taught through mystery schools here on the Vision Train from time to
Yeah.
time. So,
Ancient wisdom.
yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank you, Austin.
the salmon mural for the Waldorf School, that one was, I just painted it on my own. I'm not sure if you were imagining that that was coordinated with a whole group of young
Well,
artists.
great that it did because it was so different and it
Yeah,
just showed, because you're our teacher, so we saw a lot of the teacher art and then that was like that was different and that was you and that was cool and it was pretty impressive, I have to say.
that was kind of a neat opportunity too, because when they invited me to talk about having a mural there, I was assuming, oh, it's going to be a group thing. They want the whole school involved. And then
Right.
the head of school, she was like, no, I just love this spiritual art that you're doing. I want you to paint this mural for us. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, cool. All right, great.
yeah, really good.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really nice to see these big, gigantic paintings and how you develop it. And but hey, I want to take us back to the beginning of like little Austin. When did you find out that you wanted to be an artist? Like, how was this developing and like and getting into art school as well? How was this like finding out you wanting to be an artist and getting into school?
I always felt that I was an artist and wanted to be an artist, and it was encouraged by my parents. And so that was easy. Identifying as an artist. What was difficult was I felt very alone in that in my small friend group that I had like in elementary school and middle school. Got a little bit better in high school, not a lot better though. And lots of I was always different. I was always being creative, always thinking of things differently. A lot of teasing because of that in a small community in Wisconsin. But I also, um, so I grew up in Wisconsin, which is in the Midwest, the middle of the country. But my mom is originally from near New York City, and I had an aunt that lived out there, and I would go out and I would visit her, and she's also very into art and excited about all things art. And it was with her that I would go to the big art museums in New York and go to the galleries, and she has always been a big supporter of me. So, but I didn't have a example of how to be a successful artist or sustain myself as an artist. I knew how to make art. That just is always pouring out of me, flowing out of me. But how to live as an artist and make money as an artist, a lot of that was a big struggle. And now I see, just because I didn't have an image of what that could be, or anybody giving me that advice. And also, I like to be clear that I'm not sure if there wasn't anybody giving me that advice, or for some reason I wasn't able to accept that advice at the time. That I think there probably was some of that as well. But I couldn't imagine going to school for anything else. So I did a Bachelor of Fine Arts program. And after that, and in that Bachelor of Fine Arts program, again, it was learning technique and craft of being an artist, but there wasn't a talk about what are you going to do with this degree after you graduate and be an artist in the world and make money? So I did a lot of odd jobs just to pay the bill. And that was not good for my spirit, not good for my soul. And where I did start to find a connection of this feels good to me is when I'm doing something that's true to myself, is when I would teach art programs that were like a kids summer art camp or a community art classes through the community center, and art classes for the senior citizen community centers. And I was doing more and more of those and finding that people responded really well to me as a teacher, and I was really enjoying being a teacher. So then it was a bunch of years of doing that. And then I decided to go back to school to actually get the art education credentials, so that I could teach in public schools. And yeah, been teaching in schools ever since.
Nice, nice. It's really interesting, like how you found this aptitude to teach, like how it was fluid. It was like naturally then, like for you to like making paintings or like teaching. Like how was this? How was finding out this? No, because you were already painting, already creative, but how was developing these
Yeah.
gatherings?
Well, I don't know why I have always resistant to putting in the effort needed to show my work in galleries where I might actually start having people pay real money for my paintings. I have had gallery shows in small places, and I've been a member of two different artist co-op galleries, but I wouldn't put in the effort that you need to promote yourself and get people there to come to your shows and buy your work. And if I wasn't going to be making my income that way, and because I do love to share, I love to talk about art, I love to talk about art technique, I love to pick apart creativity, I love to find 10 different ways to help you with whatever artwork you're working on. Oh, that way didn't work. Let's try this way. Let's try this way. Let's try this way. So just all of those parts of my personality and excitement of engaging with that kind of stuff. Um, People responded to me well as a teacher, and then I was like, oh, aha, I this is a path for me, and a way to be an artist and also pay the bills.
Yes, of course. And also, like, what you do really good is like empowering the creativity in people. Like you say, you give tools to people. Hey, you can try this, you can try that, you can try this. And it's so curious to see that you were only finding out about the visionary art movement as a like this cultural movement, like so after you were already doing a very like a visionary act, like this teaching of these kids like that, like empowering the imagination of them. It is giving them a different way of seeing life. Like it is really interesting this part of you like being in the school, like, and you said that you already teach it adults as well. So
Mhm.
how do you feel there is a difference? Yeah, how is that?
There's there are things that I love about teaching kids and things that I love about teaching adults. But I find the difference isn't as big as somebody might imagine. Uh, and I believe that is because what I draw out in people is this core part of themselves, their authentic creativity that they may not have even have been aware of. They think they're signing up, speaking of adults, they think they're signing up just for an art class. But I bring in so much philosophy of how to create, not just what we're creating and what we're creating with. And that kind of puts adults into a childlike headspace again, because it's exciting, and it's so let's I keep using the word authentic. I'm trying to think of a different word, and it's not coming to me. But that it's a part of you that I think doesn't have an age. It's not whether you're a kid or you're an adult. It's still that it's a pure part of you, and so that's what I connect with, whoever my students are, whatever their age is.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's amazing. Yeah, this imagination cloud, it's timeless and we all can have access to it. But yeah, like when we grow up, we kind of lose this. And yeah, and teaching in school, like for a while now. How can you show us like what it is to be inside of a classroom? Like when it is your class, you arrive there and what happens? What is the spirit of the kids there? Like how is it?
Well, I do start with a ritual at the beginning of every art class, and it's something that I picked up from Hypno, and it goes like this, and I'm going to invite everybody to put their hands together. And when a group comes into the classroom with me, we stand, we put our hands together, and then we do a motion like this and say, art for all for art. And that instantly creates the creative community that we have for however long that class is. And we've all done something meaningful together just right from the very beginning. So that's how I start every art class. And in my experience and I've mostly taught in elementary schools just because that's where more job opportunities are. I have taught high school. I've taught in continuing education to community colleges with adults. I've taught middle school, 6th to 8th grade, which I love. But most of my time has been in kindergarten through 5th grade. And at most schools, they have very short art periods. An hour if you're lucky, but many of them are 45 minutes. Some of them are 30-minute art classes. 30 minutes to bring a group of kids in, share with them what you're going to be working with that day, teach them something, give them a demonstration, give them some instructions, allow them to make something, and then clean up and get out the door so that the next group can come in. It's totally ridiculous. And I struggled with that for a while, but then what I figured out, what works for me, is I started seeing it as not a 30-minute art class. I started creating these long arcs to the projects that we would make. And so the the first week that a class comes into me, I am teaching them a lot. I'm doing a lot of the talking. I'm demonstrating the materials. I'm bringing in whatever I think might be they'll find inspiring to get into the project. Then the second week, when they come back to that class, I am sharing a little bit, but they have more time to work on their project. And then the next time they come in, I share just this much. I talk at the beginning of the class, and then the rest of the time is theirs to work. And then ideally, by about the fourth class of that project or that arc of what we're exploring, I don't have to, they can come right into the classroom. They know what they're doing. They can get to work on it. And then I'm able to move around individually and start talking to them more deeply about what their individual pieces that they're working on. And then as we come to the end of an arc of a project, of a unit, we start sharing our work with each other, and then creating a display of the work either in the art room or as much as possible out into the hallways and into the more common spaces of the school, where I really feel like it continues, because then they can share that with others, other students in other grades, also friends and family that are coming through the school. And I enjoy creating those displays and putting in information about the process and all the elements that go into to what was happening, for a couple of reasons. There is so much that happens behind the scenes in art class that once the finished piece comes out, and maybe it goes onto the refrigerator at home with some magnets, it's like, oh, that's nice. That's a fun picture. I love it. But the art teacher and the kids and the artists, we know there's so much that's in there. And so by creating these displays that give the viewer ways to peek behind the curtain in a way, is a lot of fun, and is really helps advocate for yourself as what you're doing as an art teacher in the classroom.
Yes, it's incredible. Like, wow, you developed this system that, well, I can imagine that the kids are really like comfort, like a comfortable place to create, just like to play around.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
going back to when I shared my uh, teaching philosophy, my current teaching philosophy is it starts with comfort, feeling safe in the classroom, and understanding your own creativity and how that cycle of creativity works. That's more important to me at the elementary school level in particular. Um, as how do we plant the seeds for those kids to want to continue to be artists and creative thinkers and take more, uh, either take more art classes or just keep working on their own art at home. And at the higher levels, getting into middle school and then into high school, um, I will focus more on specific techniques and materials, and get a little bit more technical about things. But I don't, there doesn't need to be a lot of that with the young kids. It's just the excitement of creating and maintaining that excitement of creation, of being creative, because most of them do come in feeling creative. We just have to be really careful not to squash that creativity.
Yes, I can say that I remember a lot my elementary school art teacher. She was amazing, and I even had a pontilism exercise with her, and I made a Van Gogh painting. I was 8 years old, but I remember as like I'm seeing the picture now. And I remember she saying like she was like showing the whole school. It was not a big school, but she was showing the whole school like what this kid did. It was a Van Gogh in Punctilism. And yeah, she inspired me a lot for sure. I remember this. And yeah, I can imagine like the little kids remembering the exercises they had in the elementary school there.
And the feeling of working through the hard parts of the creative process is what I try to support, because, and again, with these short art periods, you typically have pretty short art periods. it can be so easy for a kid to be enjoying what they're working on, and then they get into a spot where they're like, I don't like this, my work sucks. And then art class is done. They're leaving with that feeling of my art's not good. But and I always share with them my own experiences as an artist, a professional artist. I'm like, no, man, that is so natural. Every project I do, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Oh my gosh, this is so shitty. What am I doing? I'm terrible. Oh, but then it comes back up again. I'm like, oh yeah, this is so amazing. And you can't get to that final amazing place until you've gone down through the hard place. So helping them to see that and know that, oh, when everything feels terrible, we can work through those challenges.
Yeah, amazing. For sure, it's really inspiring. And I want to ask you, I'm curious to know, like, you being in school teaching kids for a few years now, more than 10 years, you can see our generation being raised. And how do you feel about our future? Like seeing these kids, teaching these kids, and seeing this generation being born. And yeah.
That is a great question. Thanks for asking. And I'm very excited to say, from my perspective of what I see, is things are good. There is a bright future where there are so many amazing, talented, optimistic, creative uh, kids that are coming up behind us. And uh, it's so much better than what I experienced. I feel like when I was a kid, and I think maybe it's also because it's our generation that are, we learn from the previous generation and try not to make those same mistakes again and those same mistakes again. And yeah, the kids that I'm working with, they're not hung up on whatever is happening, all the bad news that's happening in the news. They're excited every day to be creative, and they're they have amazing dreams and visions for the future. So it's going to work out. Everything's going to be okay.
Thank you. I was really curious to know about this. Like, hey, you're like living in school for so long. So yeah, what is the temperature there? Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm really, yeah, I'm hopeful, more hopeful now.
That keeps me going too. And I've filled my bucket so much with their optimism, because we do get confronted with all of these real problems in the world. And then spending time with kids that are so full of love and joy and optimism, that's been a really important balance for me.
Nice. Yeah, nice. These little kids' new eyes, yeah, must be really like every day new stuff. No boring day there. Yeah. Thanks. And well, I want to ask if anyone in the room has any questions, if they want to make any comments. Hi, Abra.
I was just curious as to how old you were when you left Wisconsin, because I'm from Iowa, so I kind of relate to being a freak in a small town pretty much. And I was wondering if you experienced that or what made you leave the Midwest and how old were you?
Yeah, I can identify with the feeling like a freak in a small town, big time. Um, well, I the first like taste of a different world that I got was after graduating high school. I went from southeastern Wisconsin in the Madison, Milwaukee area, all the way to Minneapolis, which felt like a really far away at the time. It's about a 5 hour drive by car. But uh, but the scene in Minneapolis was way more, and I was going to college too. So, and I was an art major and just getting exposed to so much more open-minded thinkers. And so that was very encouraging to me. But I still had a lot of mis like I felt these mistakes that I felt like I had and that I had made, and I was like holding on to them so tightly, and they were part of my identity, and I couldn't forgive myself for certain things that I had, stupid things that I had done in the past, and it would plunge me into a depression slash anxiety. And that would happen to me a lot, and I kind of would make my way back home where it was familiar with my tail between my legs, and then I'd go off someplace else for a little while longer, and but then come back, like that trip to Arizona, which was so influential, and lots of good things happened, but lots of bad things happened also. And then after I graduated college, though, with my undergraduate, that was around 2003. And so I was like 23 at the time. I started making trips out to the Pacific Northwest. And I would visit Seattle, and I would visit Oregon, Portland, and I would visit some areas in Northern California. And I was like, oh, yeah, this feels right to me. I like the scene out here. I like what's happening. But then I did end up back in Wisconsin for a while after that. And that's when I went back to school and got my art teaching certificate in Madison, Wisconsin. And when I was finishing that up, I had totally had a plan of I'm moving to Seattle as soon as I'm done with this program. In Madison, Wisconsin, though, is where I met my wife, Zinnia, and she had just moved to Madison, and we met, and I was like, got my bags packed. I'm going to Seattle. And I remember her saying, "Oh boy, it's too bad you're moving to Seattle because I think you're pretty great, and I'd like to spend more time with you." And I dropped those bags and I stayed another year in Wisconsin. I taught at a high school that year, got a job at a high school. But then she was like, hey, she didn't have anything that was keeping her there either. And our relationship was strong. This was a year. We had been together for a year. And she said, you sound really excited about Seattle and the Pacific Northwest. Why don't we go check it out? And so that was 13 years ago. We've lived here in Seattle for 13 years. And as you know, we're about to take our next step, next chapter together.
I want to say to you, I'm a grandma of one who is 4 and one on the way. And I've been really scared about what's going to happen to them. And it really makes me feel relieved there's people like you in the world. And thank you for being such a good person and thinking about kids, because kids are what makes the world. They grow, and it's really important they have good people like you in their lives. And thank you.
Thank you for saying that, and you're welcome. And yeah, it, it's so I see myself. I'm 40. I'm almost 46. But just a handful of years ago, I really started identifying my position as an elder in the community, and taking on this like concept of an elder doesn't mean to mean old, like very old, just that I have gained some wisdom here. I do have a responsibility to uh, lead and share and teach and help the younger generation, and guide in positive ways that maybe I didn't even experience at the time. So I take that role seriously. And that's where the
Yeah,
community
thanks so
mural
much.
stuff came in also. Like, okay, I'm an artist and I'm just gonna be painting these paintings in my house, and I don't really care if anybody sees them. And this is very much connected to that that I growing into being a community leader and an elder in the community. Like, but I have these art skills, and what can I do that is gonna make an impact? And public art murals, specifically collaborative murals with school groups and other community groups. Yeah.
Yes, that's so interesting. Thank you, Abra, for sharing. And yeah, I'm curious to know, like, how is this mural project that you're leading now? Because you've done like some big projects already. And how is it to get the project? And yeah, what is this purpose of putting this mural together?
For me, most of my projects have come through word of mouth, uh, meaning because I've lived here for a pretty long time, and I am active in the community. Um, and that people think of me when they have an opportunity, or they are part of a different community organization that would like to do a mural, but nobody within the organization has those skills or knows how to lead that kind of thing. Oh, but we know Austin does. So I'll get contacted that way. Also, being a teacher and being someone who has networked through the teacher community, I make an effort to network through the teacher community. That's just this amazing way of advertising what I'm doing. So through the teacher networks, and half or so of my murals have been with schools. And then there's the odd one here or there that somebody sees my work on Instagram or Facebook and says, "Oh, I really like that, and I could use something like that for my business over here." So a couple of them, that's the way those jobs have happened as well.
Nice. And like how it is to develop these projects and how it is to work with the community.
It's great. It's different every time. You really need to be flexible and listen to what the needs of the project are, what the needs of the community group is that want to do the project. And then I've gathered different methods of working over time. For example, one method can be that I listen to what they want, what they need, and then I design it, and then it's like a paint by number essentially. We have some pictures of what it's supposed to be, and you know that the red goes there and the blue goes there, and people can start painting like that. But then there's also the method that I've learned and adapted from what Hip Nguyen does, in that, as I described it, a little bit more like jazz music, where we do a series of smaller steps and smaller experiences, getting them prepared to be able to create something collaboratively that is going to work together, because we've taught them how to do that. But then once they actually get to the wall, there's quite a lot of room for what it evolves into, and it can be more organic. So that's a different way of working. And then there's another way that can be really work well for community groups, is there can be an overall theme to a piece, but then individual artists can paint on a smaller piece of mural cloth, and then that can get glued into the bigger piece. So those are all, and you can pick and choose from those different strategies to find what's going to work for that situation and that mural.
That's so nice.
And I'm always looking
Yes.
for new ways to do things also. If anybody out there has another different way of organizing community collaborative projects, I do not know it all. I'm always learning. Please tell me.
Nice. Yeah, that's exciting to work with others and like to put this image to the community and also do it together because putting it out there, making your studio, one thing, but then giving the brush in the hands of others, wow.
And another thing that Hip told me one time, he said, once the brush is in their hands, it's out of your control. And it was such a simple thing to say, but I hadn't really thought about that before. And I realized I was trying to control people too much. And sometimes that would leave somebody not feeling great, even though my intention was helping us move towards a good piece altogether. I think there were times when my instructions came across as criticizing, even though that's not really what I wanted, but I think that's how it came across. And with Hip saying, after the brush is in their hand, it's out of your hand. They are in control. So what we need to do is, what are all the steps that we can do, getting them prepared, and then they get the brush, and then they go and they paint on the wall.
Yes, you have to give them a little bit of preparation for sure. Otherwise, you want to control. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, like cutting, you have a finished product that you need to deliver. So it's understandable to be control about it. But yeah, once the brush is in their hands, it's nice to see their own expression, right? Like what they are capable of.
And speaking for myself as a community mural facilitator, I think it's absolutely okay. I usually plan one extra day after the group is done painting that me and maybe just a couple other higher artists with higher skill will come in and just do a little touch up, just do a little cleaning up, to really make it look sharp again. And that's okay. That's part of our job too.
Of course, you need to deliver a product. Of course, you need to deliver a mural that, yeah, everybody can look and see like harmony.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, that's so nice. And well, I'm curious to know with like your new plans for the future. How is it you're going to do murals? What are you going to be doing this month? Tell me more about what are the plans for the future with your art.
Well, part of that is intentionally not having too much of a plan, which sounds like so free and easy, but it's also scary. But we haven't given ourselves that opportunity in such a long time. For the over a decade, things have felt so planned and structured, and always, making more or less knowing I'm teaching at this school and this is what's happening and this is what's happening. And so we really were just like, whoa, pause. We need to take a moment to break this cycle and go out into the world and look around a little bit without having too much of a plan. Uh, so that's kind of the guiding star, is no plan. But that also, there are things there are still goals within that. I would love to have the opportunity to. I'm imagining, and Kyra is inspiring me so much watching her journey the last few months. Doing some work trades for, stay at a hostel and paint a mural, that kind of stuff. I would like to check in with other artist retreats and artist yoga retreats, because that is something that we still is a big part of our dream we want to get out of the city. So we're going to go explore. We're going to look around out of the country, also domestically around the United States, for a new environment that feels like a good fit, that is a little bit more rural, outside of a city, that we can have a little bit more land so Zinnia can have larger gardens and have a space that can become a what we were doing with the conservatory here in Seattle, a community art and garden and yoga space, but it didn't feel right putting our energy into that location here in the city anymore. So we're looking for new locations. We've got a little list of our criteria of what we think we want, but also being open to letting the feeling of the place tell us that this is the right place to be. Zinnia has also just launched a Yoga for Gardeners program. She's put a ton of work into this, and it's a very reasonable price. And you go on our website, and it's pre-recorded videos of yoga geared specifically for the physical requirements of gardening, and also because she's a spiritual person, the spiritual aspects that overlap between yoga and gardening. And so looking for other opportunities that can grow into, visiting beautiful places and with different plants and different types of gardens. And yeah, I think that's as much as I need to say about that at the moment. We're going to make one decision at a time. I know that our first step is we have a place booked in on the coast of Oaxaca, Mexico for 4 weeks. That's going to be a little bit of just chill out, decompress time, but we're also going to take some Spanish lessons while we're there. We've got that lined up because neither of us have strong Spanish, and we want to visit a lot of Spanish speaking places. And I know that there's a couple of other Vision Train people down in that area that are doing artist retreats. So we'll connect in with some of them. And then as we're getting towards the end of that stay, we'll be making the decision of the next step that we want to go to. But please, I'm going to put this out there again to my Vision Train family. Let me know what's up. Invite us places if something's happening, because we want to go where we know people to show us what's happening in their community, and be a little less just traveling as tourists, but be able to like get infused into what's actually happening in these places.
Wow, I'm wishing you both all the best in this journey because this is truly inspiring and truly like kind of like a privilege to be able to live life like that, like to spend like a month now in Oaxaca, in Mexico, and just focusing on yourself and focusing on the purpose of your projects, focusing on that. This is incredible. And I believe that, yeah, many things will blossom from that,
Thank you.
undoubtedly. Yes, undoubtedly. And well, if you want to come in Brazil, January, it is a beautiful time of the year to come. Amazing time, and we do a party here for 200 people. You're very welcome. This is a very nice region with waterfalls and trekking. I live in a national park, so yeah, you're mostly welcome. And Kaira, I see you there. You wanna ask something?
Yeah, I'd love
Cool.
to make some comments. I just am so mind blown listening to this and also doing a mural at the same time. Um, and knowing you through like the daily visions last year, always so like positive and energetic, and now like seeing more of what you have created and understanding where are these motifs coming from is just so interesting to me. And to learn more about you, of course, is just so exciting. And as somebody who thrived in an art class because I really was challenged in academia, it was like my saving grace in school. And to hear how you approach teaching and kids and just like your care for them and their well-being and creative outlet is so nourishing to hear this. And yeah, I just thank you for your service and the arts and the children, and to have this also like synchronistic path of like going somewhere with no plan and just following what's best for us. It's really, um, I don't know. It's so nice to see like you said, like you're not alone, even though you know you're not the only person doing it. And yeah, I just appreciate the time that you took today to share with us, and I'm excited to see what else is on your journey.
Thanks, Kyra. I appreciate you too. And you will continue to get messages from me, I'm sure, because it's so amazing how I feel like you're just a couple of steps ahead of us, kind of the same path, at least to begin with, heading south in that direction. And I know that you've got a lot of tips and wisdom and probably mistakes that you've made that you can share and help us with, so we can make our own new, different mistakes.
Yeah, I got you. You can reach out anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyra. And yeah, well, this ties together to the next question that I have for you. We have here like this global community, right? And the possibility to connect with each other from far, far away and also get the news from the place, that we are. This is so interesting how the vision train can connect us. So I am curious to know more about like how did you find the vision train? You mentioned about the mural, right? It was a mural painting from Anya Amador, but how was it to getting on the vision train, to getting to the vision train to your routine? And also, what is the value that the vision train has for your life?
Yeah. So I somehow saw a post that Anya had made about offering this online mural class through Zoom. I think it was on Facebook, or maybe it was Instagram. And I just saw, oh, that looks interesting. I'd like to learn more about that. Because up until that point, I had really only had the one little bit of mural experience in Arizona, and I wasn't in charge of any of the logistics of things. I was there as a volunteer painter. I was just learning a few things. But this course that Anya offered was really going through step by step nuts and bolts of how to be a mural artist and how to have a mural business. So really grateful for that opportunity. And and this must have been about late 2020, early 2020. Oh, you think it was 2022? Maybe it was. Yeah, 2021.
2021 or 2022?
Yeah, around
Yes, yes,
there,
around there.
because then she said, oh, there's this thing, because we were all still fully in lockdown at that time. Uh, and she said, "Oh, there's this cool thing, the Vision Train. You should come check it out." And I popped in, and in those early days, those of you that were there, there was no way that it couldn't just explode your brain. There were regularly 20, 30, 40 artists, all from all around the world, working 24/7 anytime you logged in, and really amazing programming that was happening because nobody else had any place else to be. And this became, of course, facilitated by the brilliant Amanda Sage, and as I learned, Joe Bob in the background, and others experience for us to connect. And then that was also where like all of these personal experiences and things that I was feeling intuitively in my gut and like just grasping in the dark about here's a whole bunch of people that are talking about these things and giving me new vocabulary, and I was like, wow, I found my people. And the Vision Train has been so supportive and so foundational for my growth to who I am now. And it still sometimes feels unreal what this group is, but it's because of the people that who we are, the type of people that we are, that we see how important this is, and we continue to show up. And I haven't been quite as involved on the Zoom call lately. Had a lot of other things happening, and that's also okay, because we can ebb and flow with how much time we're on Zoom versus how much time we're doing other things out in the world. And but learning from other artists that I hadn't connected with a group of artists that were so open and giving and understanding that the more we share with each other, the better we're all going to be. And I think of Lisette saying, the more there is, the more there is, the more there is, the more there is. And that to me means the more we give to each other. And if you're in a space with other artists and other people that have that same mentality, that same philosophy, the more we're giving, actually it's the more that we're receiving, and we're making everybody, it's such a collaborative growth versus before my experience with the Vision Train. A lot of other artist communities that I was in, there were lots of good aspects of it, but I was feeling often still a competitiveness, and a not healthy competitiveness of not wanting to give away too many of your secrets, not wanting to give away too much of your gold to others, because then they're just going to steal that and run away with it, and then you're the sucker. But that isn't nothing like that with the Vision Train community. It's like, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Oh yeah. I've got a resource for you. Here's something to look at. Here's an experience that I had that might be helpful for you. So it's still, there's nothing else I can compare it to, and how grateful I am. And I know that it blows my mind that this is just, because I do believe that we're walking our path whether we realize it or not, and that this is where my path led me to, and that when I'm struggling, it's because I'm not allowing myself to accept that this is where I'm supposed to be and this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, even though I might not know why. And that was a theme of my talk, of getting better over time, of understanding that, well, actually, when things are hard, this is where things are getting good, because this is really the opportunity to grow and change and be that yeah, that the struggle is actually what we need for the growth. So thank you, Vision Train. Thank you for everybody that continues to bring new things to the train, so that people can step away and come back, but that the train keeps chugging down the tracks with fresh crew and fresh conductors and fresh ideas. So amazing.
Yeah, choo choo. Thank you so much, Jeff, for being here. I see you going now. And
Jeff's a friend
Austin.
of mine here in the Seattle
Yeah.
area. Choo choo, Jeff. Thanks for being
And yeah,
here.
he's just choo-chooing. Like you getting here and you choo-chooing. Like you cannot go out without choo-chooing.
I don't know if
This community.
I don't know if Jeff jumped off yet or not.
No, he's here. Ah,
Okay,
just
so
yeah.
I'm going to put this out here because I know that Jeff has been watching and listening to what's happening here on the train, but hasn't had the opportunity to get involved yet. And Jeff is an amazing creative person in multiple ways and a storyteller. And some of you know that I've played some of his storytelling recordings on the Vision Train. So we got to get Jeff involved and sharing on the train.
Yes, Jeff needs to be riding the train with us, please. Yeah. And it's really curious, right? How we cannot tell people what it is to ride the Vision Train, but how it is life-changing for anyone that's here for long and has been involved, like you've been a conductor for a while as well, and also doing the daily visions for a while. And I want to know, like, how was it this process of the daily visions that came from the Vision Train into your life?
The first year that the Daily Vision project was launched, I was the most consistent, and I still didn't make it completely through the entire year, but I made it a good chunk. I can't remember how many months. And it's such a good practice to and to be involved with a group of artists that want to check in and have that accountability to creating something every day or whatever it is, the schedule that you set up for yourself. And what I saw was a real significant growth in my uh, evolution of some of the ideas and imagery that I was working with. Very clearly, I saw that. Um, and I need to do it again. The next year, I started at the beginning of the year and I didn't get very far. And but I it's a really good challenge and a really good habit and routine to set up. And I recommend it for anybody. And also that you can start and it's okay, life happens and you fall behind, but then you get back in and be kind to yourself, and because every piece that you make is cumulative and it's worth it. But speaking for myself, that first year when I did the most consistently, I saw a ton of growth in my own artistic directions. I really did.
Yes, this Daily Vision, it's really a potent project that we have here on the Vision Train that's been going on since 2023. And I've been doing it, I did it for 2 years, but I did weekly. You were doing daily.
The first
Like,
year, yeah.
yes. So I did was 54 a year, around 54 a year, and also I could see this evolution, so I cannot imagine like what you put together in doing it daily. Yeah,
Yeah, there
it's
are
impressive.
elements that now are in my paintings that came directly from just exploring all these different avenues and just letting it be something small and quick and no pressure, but just getting something out each day. And it's good. It's very good practice. Very good practice.
Yes, amazing practice. And well, Michelle, I see your comment here. I'm glad that you're here, and I hope that you feel inspired to go to art university. And yeah, you were mentioning something about that, so I hope you feel inspired about this.
Yeah, I know Michelle is an art teacher also, and I don't see exactly the comment you're referring to, but if she's thinking about getting like more credentials, actual art education credentials, I think that's awesome. Do it.
Do it. Yes.
It just gives you more opportunities of places that you can teach. A lot, there are a lot of opportunities that you don't need to have a teaching certificate. But if you do have the means of getting that teaching certificate, it just opens up even more opportunities, and usually a higher income level as well.
Yeah, no
Yes.
thanks. I will comment since I'm here. I know I'm listening. It's like I don't want to listen because I applied for teachers college and got accepted, and then I put it off, and I put it off for a year, but I'm deferred. I have an acceptance for next year. So I do. I grapple with like, well, can I find my own path, or like this one feels like secure and stuff, but like there's just so much beauty in the amount of kids you can give to as well, and the impact you can have. So yeah, thanks for sharing it all. It was really nice to hear.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for being here. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And yeah, we also had a vision training focus with Michelle once, and Brittany Monster is here as well. Yeah, it was so nice to listening to all of your stories. And well, my friends, anyone else has any question? We are getting to the top, like we are here talking for 2 hours. You're really like a teacher, like like you have to be a teacher to be speaking for so long. And no, I'm
I
joking.
have a lot of
Well,
practice.
when we are speaking about what we love as well,
Yeah.
it just passed really quick. I am deeply grateful for your attention, Austin, and I'm deeply grateful to ride the train with you. All these years, like the late night train rides, like just creating and listening to music or sharing, it is always like really, really great to be with you. Thank you
I
so much.
am making an part of what I want to be part of my routine as we go into this year of travel is actually setting aside a bit of time each week to get it onto the vision train, because I know I really haven't been on much in the last year at all. And I see the difference. I see such a positive difference when I'm able to check in with the Vision Train family on a regular basis. So I need to get that back into my routine again. Thanks for inviting me to be.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad that you will have now this time and motive to come back to the train and connect more. And I cannot say that I had these feelings because I am riding the train weekly for so long. It is so nice, friends. So thank you so much, Austin. And well, we'll keep in touch. Wishing you all the best in this journey with Zinnia and the world.
Thank you, Marina. Thanks, Vision Train. Choo choo.
Choo choo! And thank you so much, my friends. If you're watching the recordings or live on the YouTube channel, you can come to the Vision Train and know more about the Vision Train project at visiontrain.org and jump on board the Vision Train and come create art with us. And we'll see you on the next Vision Train Focus. Choo choo!